Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Once again, this is Jeffrey Daniel coming to you from Abuja, Nigeria. Today is January 9th, 2022, according to that Gregorian calendar. You guys, I'm not going to stop banging on that Gregorian calendar business. And if any of you who are not aware of the Gregorian calendar, look it up, okay? Pope Gregory, who readjusted the calendar. And that's why we think it's the year 2022, okay? So, anyway, you guys, I'd like to thank all of you who gave me all the well wishes. I am a COVID survivor. I just got over the Omicron variant of the coronavirus. It wasn't that bad. It was like a mild flu or something like that. And I'm sure a lot of you have gotten it because this thing has gotten to everybody. This thing has gotten to everybody, okay? And so I hope you all have recovered it from it well. And, well, spitting there. Sorry about that. Hope you all have recovered from it well. And I hope you guys are continuing to keep your body strong, your immune system strong. We don't know if another variant's coming along or if this thing is finally dying out because it's gotten lessened in its severity. And that they said that's how the Spanish flu phased itself out back in the the 1920s or 1919 to 1920s. So let's see how that all goes. Okay, you guys. So once again, I'm coming to you guys bringing you pure love, concern, and knowledge. And in this information age, ignorance is a choice. You got to remember that. So let me give you my disclaimers real quick before I get into this. Anything I say and stand for is not meant to be discriminative against any group of people, any individual, or any race of people. I am not a racist, but I like to bang on issues. And I don't bang on individual people unless you deserve it. But I don't get into that. I'd also like to thank all of you for listening to my new song, Back to the World, okay? And I released it on December 17th. And for all of you kind and encouraging feedback that I got from you guys, I really appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. The message is real, the song is prevalent, and I'm trying to do my part in trying to heal our society as much as I can. I'm just one person. And I'd also like to tell you guys one thing. Being conscious or awake or being woke, as they call it, is a blessing as well as a curse. So before any of you decide you want to know what's really going on in the world, may I caution you that seeing how the strings are being pulled behind the scene makes you immune to the fakeness in this world that everyone else is following like lost sheep. Now, knowing the real truth and especially speaking truth to power is a burden that many people are not really willing to bear. It makes you stand out as the odd person or sounding offbeat as if you're the one following some strange cult. And remember my quote, the truth will get you canceled. That's deep. The truth will get you canceled. In this cancel culture climate of political correctness, or as I call it, political incorrectness, And this is deep, you guys. I don't know. America never ceases to amaze me. Now they're sending letters to schools, some schools, not all schools, not to talk to students about the January 6th insurrection. The most treasonous and anti-government historical event in modern times, and students should not talk about it? Are schools not an institution of learning? This is deep, you guys. And even if they don't talk about it, they saw it themselves. It only happened a year ago, for Christ's sake. My God. Wow. This new culture of hide our guilt just shows how cowardice and embarrassed America is by its own mendacious behavior, you guys. And you can't get around that. So they are so ashamed to teach students about the Jim Crow era that prohibited black citizens from attending public schools and patronizing white-owned businesses. And now they're trying to whitewash over an anti-black directive, now calling it critical race theory. So now it's mitigated to just a theory, critical race theory. They don't want to teach the newer generations all of the malicious actions that the government had imposed against ethnic people in its past. They're trying to erase it like it didn't happen, like they're doing about slavery. If you bring up the transatlantic slave trade, well, that was a long time ago. Why are you guys talking about that? You guys, I don't know. They're so ashamed of an insurrection against the American Capitol, orchestrated by former President Donald Trump and executed by an assortment of white extremist groups and American citizens who believed in Trump's big lie about the 2020 elections being stolen. It's been more than a year later, and not one shred of evidence to substantiate his big lie has come forth. Not one. It's been thrown out of about 50 court cases. It's been rejected. And the people in Arizona who are supposed to be recounting the votes and all that, the company that was doing those vote recounts, it just went out of business. So they wasted all that money still trying to recount votes until they ran out of money. And I just saw this on the news the other day that the company in Arizona has just, they went bankrupt. So there goes the counting of the votes. Still trying to prove that Joe Biden did not win the election. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. But yet, they cannot stop reminding us about the World War II Holocaust, the bombing of Pearl Harbor, or the 9/11 terror attack. But if we try to bring up the transatlantic slave trade, we're told to get over it. And a slew of black communities that were destroyed by white mobs that we're now only hearing whispers about, thanks to social media. But then again, no thanks to social media for suspending and canceling people's accounts for espousing certain uncomfortable truths. There's a segment of the American government is becoming an institution of cowards and liars, a haven for dishonest and disingenuous politicians who only care about their constituents and personal agendas. And us, the citizens, are being told not to speak truth to power or we will be canceled. I just saw a quote online the other day, and I had to copy this, you guys, because this is deep. Check this out. It said, people will get mad at you for speaking the truth rather than being mad at the people who lied. That's deep. People will get mad at you for speaking the truth rather than mad at the people who lied. And that goes for just all around. I'm talking about politics. I'm talking about religion. I'm talking about whatever, because people believe in certain lies and they get so comfortable in the lies that they hate for that lie to be overturned or exposed, And I got to weigh in on a couple of pet peeves, you guys, real quick. I just get peeved with all these little titles placed on everything. Let me give you an example. With this COVID pandemic, okay, the health experts are hoping we can reach herd immunity. Herd immunity. Why are they hoping we attain herd immunity? Are we not humans? Let me give you the definition of a herd, okay? A herd is a large group of animals, especially hoofed mammals, that live together, are kept together as livestock. So how in the hell are we supposed to reach herd immunity? Man, get the jack crack a macalack out of here. I mean, see how easily most of you just follow everything that comes along without even thinking first. Shouldn't it be community immunity? Now, I know I'm just being petty, but I just pay attention to details. Like social distancing. Why are they saying social distancing? That's an obvious oxymoron. Shouldn't it be physical distancing? To be social is to be grouped together. So how are we going to be social and distanced at the same time? That's an oxymoron. But everybody, oh yeah, we got to practice social distancing. We need social distancing. Who even comes up with this stuff, you guys? It should be physical distancing because that means physically you are separated. Anyway, you guys, that's just the way I process things, okay? So if I'm the odd one out, like I said, I'm woke, I'm awake. So if I sound like the odd one out, forgive me, okay, you guys? Anyway, all right. One more thing, for instance, you guys, please believe me, I would love nothing more than to wish you all a very happy new year. But now knowing that Julius Caesar, one man, the ruler of the Roman Empire, just for his error, not the entire planet, single-handedly changed the new year from March 1st back to January 1st. Now, for thousands of years, the New Year's was on March 1st. Julius Caesar just pranced along and said, let me change this, okay? A 3 months difference. And for what reason? Okay, I'll get to it. Now, when you take into account the thousands of years it took to map out the movement of the earth, the moon, the positions of the stars, the constellations in conjunction with the agricultural seasons, then create a calendar to correlate specifically to these movements, giving us the first 365-day solar and lunar calendar, making this it's more like the year 6,263 according to that ancient Egyptian calendar, not 2022. Think about it. We're more closer to the year 6,263 as far as recorded time with calendars, not 2022. So why are we still all going along with this great manipulation of time if we know the truth and the real calendar dates? And why are we all complying with it? Especially since it omits thousands of years of our historical contributions and greatness. That's why. Because it omits thousands of years of our contribution and our greatness. You see, the ancient Egyptians created their calendar cosmologically, mathematically, and astronomically and agriculturally. But Julius Caesar just conveniently changed it according to his own ego and pernicious reasons. But here we are, still rolling with this fallacious imitation of documented time. And why? Allow me to tell you all why. You guys, lean in with me on this, you guys. Lean in with me on this. Why didn't they teach us this in school? Because this knowledge it's known, it's not new. It's reported that Julius Caesar added 67 days to the year 46 BCE, so the new year in 45 BCE could begin in the 11th month of the year to honor the Roman god of beginnings named Janus. That's where January comes from. Thus, renaming the 11th month to January and starting the new year on that date. March was originally the first month of the calendar year. I explained that to you all before in my video, The Great Manipulation of Time. If you guys haven't seen that video, you can go back and see it, okay? But for some of you newcomers who think I'm just making this up, let me give you a quick summary. All you have to do is look at the Latin names of the month. Before they gave the months names, the months were only numbered 1 through 12, a system that's still practiced in Japan and China today, a couple of other countries too. They don't have names for numbers. The ancient Egyptians didn't give names for the months. They only numbered the months, okay? So, for example, okay, check this out. For example, September, the Latin word is septem, which means 7. So September is the 7th month of the year. Told you guys this before. October, the Latin word octo, means 8, as in octopus, octagon, that's 8. November, Latin word is novem, which is 9. Okay, novem is 9. December, DEC, like in decimal, as in decade. December, the Latin word decim, which is 10, making January the 11th month of the year and February the 12th month. March is really the first month of the year as it ushers in springtime. The year doesn't begin in the middle of winter. How can a new year come in the dead of winter? And I know this is according to the northern hemisphere because, maybe in the southern hemisphere, the seasons are reversed. But anyway, but this is what we're going to, you guys, okay? Yet Christians profess not to worship any other God but the one God of the universe. Well, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you guys this, but on January 1st, you all just acknowledge Janus, the Roman god of beginnings. This is where we're at. Now, some of y'all was all teary-eyed, singing Auld Lang Syne and thanking God for another year, 3 months too soon. And I cannot fault you all for this. I didn't learn this truth until recently myself. But let me reiterate, this is the information age, you guys. Ignorance is a choice. if you guys still want to continue rolling with it. And another fine quote that I just ran across: the truth has no defense against a fool who's determined to believe a lie. Let me repeat that. The truth has no defense against a fool who is determined to believe a lie. And some of y'all are just determined to believe the lies that's been fed us over the centuries. But I'm not here to ruin your fun or your miseducation. For the sake of argument, let me take this opportunity to wish you all a very, very happy 2022. Okay, and let me go along and see. I told you guys now, don't I look like the odd guy out who must be into some strange cult? Wow, just imagine the year 6,263. Wow. But happy 2022, everybody. Wee, wee, woo. I wish I had one of those blowers and I don't know, you know. Anyway, let me wet my whistle, you guys, because, you know, I'm going for it right here. But I really do wish you all a happy new year. I really do wish you guys peace, prosperity, good health, and, you know, continued success. All right. All right. Sorry about that. So speaking of dates, let's go to January 6th. All right. Because this is what's been happening, what's been in everybody's mind. And because I was recovering from COVID, I'm a couple of days late with this, you guys. So anyway, but before I posted this video, I waited to listen to President Joe Biden give his speech concerning the January 6th insurrection that took place last year at the nation's capital. And it's now another date in infamy. But before I get into Biden's address, I'd like to share a more personal reason why January 6th stands out to me, okay? My father's birthday was just January 7th. And although I only met my father only 3 times in my life, he turned 96 years old on the 7th of January. And it seems as if it will be pretty much his last birthday alive. His health has deteriorated to the point that he can barely talk. When I called him to wish him a Merry Christmas, he was trying to breathe and talk at the same time just to get a whisper out. And when I left him a New Year's message, I could only hear him breathing on the other end. So I called and sang him a happy birthday on the 7th to his answering service. He didn't even pick it up this time, but at least I called and wished, you know, I sang happy birthday to him and I wished him a happy birthday. But you know what? I'm good with that. I had already predicted this years ago that he would die alone without any family members around him. It's not that I wish that on him. He just has a way of keeping a distance from people and family. That's his thing, okay? So I'm just glad I had the chance to tell him I forgave him for whatever reason he wasn't in my life, and to pray for him and to wish him well in his remaining days on earth. So why do I mention such a personal issue, you know, in my life to you all? Well, the reason why I brought this up, you guys, is because my father served in the U.S. military during the Second World War. And he was even stationed in Japan after the dropping of the atomic bombs. He served the American government, as many of maybe your fathers or grandfathers may have done also. So, what transpired last year at the nation's capital, at the citadel of democracy, was a direct insult and slap in the face to every serviceman and woman who served to defend this country's democracy and constitution. For them to live and witness an American president incite an insurrection against the very democratic process that the president was sworn in to protect against all terrorists, foreign and domestic, must have been a punch in the gut to my father, who was a victim of the Jim Crow laws and not allowed to attend public schools. So my father had to attend schools in a church until he was 13 years old. And after that, he was on his own. But to prove his patriotism to his country, he enlisted to serve in the military and placed his life in harm's way for a country that didn't even love him in return, only to have a president that had falsified his health condition in order to avoid serving in the military that my father served in. I respect my father far more than Donald J. Trump, who is a solipsistic coward and a serial liar. I warned you all back in 2020, long before the elections even took place, that there seemed to be a second civil war culminating. Check out my videos and see, you guys. I was the only person saying that. I was talking about a second civil war and the divided states of America. And I got that title from my dance brother, Jerome Casper candidate, the divided states of America. But I was talking about a second civil war seemed to be culminating, you guys. I was the only one saying that at the time. My perspicacity was far ahead of things as I watched how things were playing out in America. And now I heard the news announcer ask the other night, is American democracy really at danger? Duh. Come on, you guys. The writing on the walls can't be any more deeply engraved, and they still can't read it. They're still trying to come to grips with the insurrection that took place against the United States of America. Now, no one can predict how this all is going to play out in the legal battles, but one thing I know for sure is that history will record January 6th as one of the darkest days in the history of the American government. Now, this is going to be good, you guys. I want to talk about President Joe Biden. I call this little section Sleepy Joe Awakes, okay? I told you all before, I am not a news reporter, so I'm not here just to report the news, but I just have to weigh in on Joe Biden's January 6th remembrance speech, okay? For once, I am so proud of President Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe woke up, took off his glove, and finally got gangster on Trump's ass. Now, you guys know I like to keep it clean. I don't like to use profanity and cuss and stuff like that, but sometimes these type of adjectives are the perfect punctuation for things, you guys. Okay, first of all, he never even mentioned Trump by name, not once. That is the first indication of a lack of respect for an individual. Didn't even mention him by his name, only as the former president. Joe even got aggressive and said, you can't hold a dagger at the neck of democracy, and he personally would not allow it to happen on his watch. And I'm paraphrasing with that a little bit. But I had to grab the popcorn for this speech, you guys. I'm not talking about that imitation butter at the cinemas. I had to grab the real hot butter popcorn for this one, you guys. Until now, Joe Biden has kept his sentiments toward Trump pretty innocuous. But, people, do you realize that what Joe Biden's finest version of bitch, do you know who you effing with? That's what that was, you know? Finally, Biden came out of his Papa Joe shell and was in full whoop-ass mode. Now, that's not a president. In fact, that's how a president is supposed to address someone who didn't put some respect on his name. You know, Joe Biden came out in whoop-ass mode. He told Trump he wasn't just a former president, but a defeated president. That, come on, you guys. And Trump named him Sleepy Joe. Well, thanks to Trump, Sleepy Joe just woke the F up, you know? And to be honest, President Biden has avoided getting into the whole let's go after Trump thing since he's been in office. And Biden quietly endured all of Trump's name-calling, hubris, and hyperbole throughout the primaries and unfair criticism for the past year. But in his January 6th remembrance speech, Joe Biden got grimy and put on his best Ice Cube gas face and called Trump's ass out. I mean, you could see it as he was talking. He was gassing up his face like Ice Cube and stuff, you guys. This is a new Joe Biden, okay? So I'm like, get him, Biden, get him, Biden. The chant just went from lock him up to whoop his ass, whoop his ass. You got to give it to Joe Biden, you guys. And after all this time, they look like they're finally getting ready to go after Trump and all the other lawmakers who participated in this insurrection. And it's well about time they did. As I told you before, if Trump is indicted on charges, that will make him ineligible to run for any public office in the future. Then perhaps, maybe, we can see America return to some semblance of normality. But remember, it's not just democracy or Trump on trial, it's also those extremist groups that answered Trump's call to the Capitol to commit to insurrection and sedition. Whether these people get convicted or not, They are now activated and tasted blood last January 6th. They will continue trying to overthrow the government or resort to guerrilla tactics and orchestrate terrorist attacks against the American public. All these things are yet to be seen. Remember, America insists on keeping its citizens armed with military-grade weapons, no matter how many public mass shootings occur. And America is supposed to be the leader of the free world? Yeah, more like the leader of public mass shootings in the world. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this whole insurrection roundup plays out in the federal courts and in our society. On another note, you guys, I'm going to bring this to your attention. Speaking of our society, I just ran across a couple of ads for some new video games on Facebook, and it was the most disgusting and gruesome thing I've ever seen in my life. What kind of sick, demented minds are creating games that show a man falling off of high buildings and off of high cliffs, and in graphic details showing how he's hitting certain layers on the way down, and how his head is hitting the ground and blood splurting out everywhere, and how his body's getting all twisted up. How am I supposed to enjoy something like that? I didn't enjoy 1 second of it. No wonder our kids are going into schools and opening fire on fellow students. These games are desensitizing our youth. Now, I'm a grown man, and I felt sick watching it, how grotesque these images were. I told you all before, your diet isn't just what you eat, but what you see, what you hear, what you taste, and allow into your psyche, you know? Simulations are used to train people into becoming proficient at whatever simulator is teaching them. Flight simulators, they train pilots how to fly planes. NASA space simulators train astronauts how to navigate in space. So you're telling me, if children are watching nonstop graphics of people falling off of high buildings and how detailed their bodies get twisted and bloodied, you don't think some kids are going to want to eventually see this in real life? Come on, I mean, you know, these programmers know very well how impressionable the youth are. And they also know that pushing the moral envelope attracts kids. It attracts people. You know, when things get, you know, how to say, when things get, you know, a bit more edgier and they get more, you know, it's bad enough our kids have to watch all these pornographic images that we're seeing in the promotion videos now. I am appealing to all parents to not allow your children to be exposed to these senseless, gruesome games. There's a million other things kids can do for entertainment that doesn't desensitize their humanity. The question is, why is our society allowing the moral bar to be lowered to such such disgusting depths? Why are they lowering the moral bar that low to such disgusting depths? Back in the 1960s, you know, I'm from the old school. Back in the 1960s, if a classmate used profanity, we would report them to the teacher. You know, it was considered shameful to cuss, or to use drugs, or to steal, or to stay out late, or even not to go to church. It was even considered shameful living together with your lover before you were married. Even the Whispers back in the 1970s, they made a song called Living Together in Sin. You guys go on YouTube and check it out. The Whispers, Living Together in Sin. It's a beautiful song, but it's a very meaningful song because that's how our morals were still intact back in the 1970s, you know? So, on a good note, did any of you see the new Spider-Man movie? In my humble opinion, it was surprisingly one of the best movies in the Marvel Universe. I was not expecting any of that to happen, and the surprises just kept on coming. Now, I won't do a spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it yet. I'll just say it's very, very great script writing and action at its best. That movie just, and I wasn't even going to see Spider-Man. I went to see The Matrix thinking it had started, but it hadn't started yet. So I went in to see Spider-Man. I took my little goddaughter Mercy with me. And, well, little, she's big now. She's 17. So, and I was surprised. I mean, the way the story flowed, the action, the way this happened, that happened. I don't want to do any spoiler alerts to give it away, but you guys have to agree. And come to find out, It's the third biggest weekend debut movie in history now. So, I was right on point about it. Now, after waiting on pins and needles for the new Matrix movie to come out, Resurrections, I was very sadly disappointed, you guys. And I'm not one to go to movies to criticize movies and stuff like that. I go to enjoy movies. It just didn't live up to the standards of excitement or substance. And I really, really like Keanu Reeves and the Matrix series, you guys. I've got all the videos and everything. And I noticed that only one of the Wachowski brothers, are now sisters, Wachowski sisters, was credited as directors, after both directors directed the previous Matrix installments together. Maybe the other brother or sister input was missing. You guys understand why I'm saying this? And I'm not anti anybody, so I'm not trying to be anything. They started off with the first Matrix installments as the Wachowski brothers. Since then, they have both become transgender. So one is going by the name Lana Wachowski. That's the one who directed this last one. But the other one is not out. And both brothers are now considering themselves women. So, I mean, that's their thing. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. I'm only, reporting what's going on, you guys. So that's why I'm saying Wachowski brothers are sisters. Okay, so you guys take your pick and choose. Okay, so on a very sad finale to a great franchise, this last Matrix just is not living up to it, you guys. You guys can still go and see it if you want to. Go check it out. But for them to keep recapping on the old one, to keep Neo and Trinity the same, and then Agent Smith and Morpheus and certain other people not be the same. They brought the little Indian girl named Seti. Now she's all grown up. They brought her in there. That was a good taste. I love that. And just the fighting scenes. And one thing I liked about the original Matrix, when they were in the Matrix, everything had like a green tint to it. And then when they were in Zion, everything had more like a bluish tint to it or something like that. And then the costumes were so conducive to all the different scenes. And not saying that they should have had the same costume designs, but the costumes were just themed better to each scene. There are little details like that what made that movie so iconic and what made it stand out the way it did, So anyway, you guys go and check it out. Enjoy yourselves. Grab your popcorn. Do what you got to do. But I'm just telling you my opinion on it because I really, really love the Matrix series. I really loved it. But I don't know, you guys. Maybe I'll go see it again and try to pick up on something I may have missed the first time. I don't know. Anyway, more great news. As I told you before, I fully recovered from the Omicron coronavirus variant, and I'd like to thank everyone who sent me well wishes. You all really know how to make a brother feel good. And you know what? You never know what a person's really going through, and that's why you guys, my listeners, my followers, some people I've never even met in my life, but I see people saying that, pray for me, or I'm in the hospital, this and that. And I just go in, I contribute, and I just give them some encouragement, and I give them my prayers and that. People I don't even know. And you guys, you don't even know that just goes such a long ways. Sometimes you can really help uplift a person. And I felt it from the outpour of love and well wishes and concern from all of you who showed your concern about me when I told you that I was diagnosed with the Omicron variant. And even though it wasn't as severe as the Delta and the previous one, but I went through the sweating, the cold sweats, the body aches, the itchy throat thing. Even after I was free of the virus, I was still coughing. I still had a cough that lingered on for like another week or so, like that. And now that's gone away. So I'm totally free, you guys. So I'd like to wish any of you who has gone through this yourselves a speedy recovery. Any of your loved ones, anyone who has lost anyone to this dreadful pandemic, I give you my condolences. Anyone who's lost any loved ones from any reasons, from any sicknesses or accidents or for what any cause it was, I'd like to extend my condolences to you. I would like to wish us all peace, prosperity, love, and light in this new year, even though it really begins in March. But we celebrated it in January the god of beginnings, the Roman god Janus. Why do we do this? If we know the truth, why are we still playing along with the charade? I just don't get it, you guys. I just don't get it. But anyway, whatever the case may be, I wish you all the best. You guys, if you haven't checked it out yet, please check out my song, Back to the World. I'm taking us back to the world. We all have to go back to being human again. We have to start caring about each other, caring about our planet, caring about life again, you guys. So check out my song. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on iTunes or whatever the outlets are. Jeffrey Daniel, Back to the World. If you've checked it out, tell a friend. If you haven't checked it out and tell a friend, okay, you guys? And please leave your feedback for me. I love to hear you guys' feedback on what I'm doing because it helps either encourage me or maybe even help guide me in a better direction, okay? You know, I'm open for criticism. I'm open for, criticism. I don't think anybody should be above criticism, even if we think we're great, even if we think we're all that, Yeah, I think I'm all that, but I'm still open for criticism. Okay, so let me wind this up, you guys. It's happy talking to you on this side of January 1st. I'll call it January 1st. It's happy talking to you guys on this side of January 1st. No matter what you're going through, no matter what we've been through, if you're listening to this video, that means you've made it this far. All we have is life and health. And people don't even realize how valuable health is until your health starts going down. And no matter how much money you have, no matter how much fame you have, you'd be like, man, I'd give anything to be healthy again. So the best thing that we can have is our health and life. After that, sound mind, healthy cognitive facilities, and the ability to continue to learn. So I wish you all the best. Thank you for riding with me. Please leave me your comments because I really appreciate it so much. Until the next time, you guys, hey, how can I say? Keep spreading the love. Let's make love great again. And let's all go back to the world. Jeffrey Daniel, Abuja, I love you all very much. Take care of yourselves.